everybody out there. This is Will with County 10. I've got Patrick Adam Lawson with me from Wind River Internet. It was so successful last time, thousands of views on your, I was laughing, we called it a tech FAQ video. I kept saying FAQ, and I started thinking as I said it over and over again, I guess they're frequently asked questions, but really it's a Q&A. We want to hear your questions and give you answers to those as opposed to just answering the frequently asked questions. So we're here with Wind River Internet to do a tech Q&A. They all have Q in them. So tech Q&A, and the topic today is internet scams. So we're going to talk about a lot of different things: internet scams, phishing, different types, some other things that could get you into trouble that aren't necessarily active scams against you. Things like typing in a funny URL or clicking on a link that is a funny URL that's purporting to be another website or something. But what we want you to do is to send us your questions, comment your questions in below, and let us know what we can answer for you. We will, at the end of the show, we will get an update from Patrick on Wind River Internet projects and things like that. We're always getting questions about where's the next tower and when can you get internet to my address, and so we will address those. And so we're just here to have some fun and answer some questions, hopefully provide you some useful information to keep you safe on the internet and educated with everything tech. So let's just kind of jump into the topic. So when we talk about internet scams, it's a wide variety of things. And I was telling you, my wife about a year ago, give or take, she called me completely freaked out that they were going to turn off our computer at home because she got an email saying that our Windows was out of, I don't even remember what the term they used was, but that it was Microsoft emailing and that our Windows was out of date, and that if we didn't respond to the email immediately and renew, that they were going to shut off Windows and our computer wouldn't work anymore. And I said, ignore it. We're never going to get an email like that from Microsoft. But this is a whole gambit of things, and we get these on County 10 all the time. People saying, I was just called by the Prince of Nigeria, and my neighbor was too, and they want to make sure that that everybody knows that the Prince of Nigeria is calling Riverton looking for your money. But everybody might be familiar with the term phishing with a PH. And so Patrick, tell us, what is phishing? What are internet scams in general? What kind of broad umbrella can you give?
Yeah, so there's a bunch of category or different types of scams, of internet scams, and they kind of fall under different umbrellas. And one term that you might want to be familiar with is called social engineering. It's a form of hacking. So it's interesting because social engineering isn't really technical. So it's as simple as going into trying to get into a party and saying you're somebody that you're not, or or asking questions and getting personal information. So phishing is like when they send you an email and they're trying to get some kind of information out of you. So it could be as simple as like the Prince thing. It is a scam, but they're trying to get your banking information or get you to deposit money. They say they're going to give you $1 million or whatever. All you got to do is put $20,000 into their account so they can transfer it back to your account, or some weird scam.
Right.
And they're getting really elaborate now. So a lot of these phishing attacks, they'll search social media, and so like on social media, do not respond to all. I see them all the time. These chain letters saying, what's your favorite color? What's your social security number? No, but basically they ask you everything but the obvious. They ask you all these personal questions. So if somebody's trying to steal your identity, they could call up, your credit card company and be like, oh yeah, I was born in Riverton, and so and so was my mom, and all this information you're giving out freely, and you don't even realize it. Oh, yeah. So beware of that, because everything you post, unless you specify, is usually public on like Facebook and Twitter and things like that.
Oh yeah.
So people will use those, and they'll actually create special emails saying like, they know what career you're in, and they'll ask you if you want a job doing some kind of a gig, and it sounds really personal. I've actually had 2 of these in the last 2 months where it sounded totally legit, and I ended up Googling it, and I'm like, no, this is a scam that's going on. They say they're going to send you a check, and then they say, well, no, actually we want you to buy something instead, and then it gets really weird. And usually you can spot these because they're very generic. Like, some things seem specific, and then there's some really weird language in there that could fit a lot of different scenarios. Yeah, phishing is pretty scary. And then there's kind of like the automated phishing, where it's just an email with a link, and you click on it, and then that installs something. And it's just hiding out in the background, and it's collecting all your passwords and usernames, and they sell it to a database. And then, like, was it Disney Plus was the big one? Like, all of a sudden, like, everybody's Disney Plus accounts were getting used and sold off to other people because they had very bad security to start with.
I'm glad I didn't get a Disney Plus account right away. We seriously thought about it, but
at Nintendo is the biggest one right now. There's a big breach in Nintendo
Really?
passwords. Yeah, for the online Nintendo.
Nintendo.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't have a Nintendo anymore, so that feels
With
good.
the Switch.
You know, these phishing scams, especially on, you mentioned Facebook, it's all the time. I mean, every week, maybe twice a week, I get a friend request from somebody that I'm already a friend with. That's a huge one, because on Facebook, those of you who are watching, if you don't realize, you friend that person, it can give a hacker back-end access to your Facebook account. And then they can create a spoof account of you because they have all your information, and they can continue using it.
Yeah, it's really easy to take screenshots or save images. They do it with web pages, like banking information. That's a big thing. Like, people will actually go and recreate the exact same website for your credit card or something like that. They'll send you a link saying that your email password, your account password's been compromised, to reset it. And when you click on that link, it'll redirect you to a URL that's very similar. So say it's WyomingBank.com or whatever. Instead, it's spelled slightly different. Like there's an extra letter in there or something.
Yeah.
And you go to it, and it actually looks like their web page because they stole the entire layout, and you won't even know. And when you go in there to put in it'll say ask for your old password. You go to put in your old password. They're actually getting your real password for your bank, and
that's amazing. I saw one. It was an Facebook Messenger like chain letter that was going around. It was something about supporting the protests. I thought I don't remember what it was exactly, but it was very compelling. And then it said click here to read more, and the URL was cnn.com whatever in a long string. And I had to look at it twice, and I almost clicked it. And I mean, I see these things every day, and that one almost fooled me. So I know it fooled other people, but it's all over the place. The URL thing is one that really catches people all the time, going to well-known URLs, but they click on them and it looks just slightly different. I started looking up County 10's county10.com. Doesn't go to anything in particular, and now we own it because I don't want anybody clicking on a phishing link from County 10. But things like that could catch people, and like you say, they try and steal your password. There are a lot of ways that they try and take your information.
So just to be clear, what we keep saying URL, or the bar, or the address, it's also called the domain. A lot of people think when they just pull up a web browser and they start typing into Google, that's how you get to a website. But there's actually the bar at the top, so like there's a forward, back, a reload, a home, like a little house, and then to the right of that there's usually, hopefully, a padlock.
Show my screen. We can show everybody what's going on here.
Yeah, so there should be like a padlock, and that means that it's a secure website. If there's no padlock there, it's not secure.
Let's have a look here.
And anything you enter into a website without a little padlock on it, it can be viewed by any party, like if they're on the same Wi-Fi network or the ISP. So that's secure encryption. So you want to make sure you have that padlock if you're doing anything sensitive.
Let's look at this real quick, because we get this question all the time. Those of you who are watching, I hope you can see me moving my mouse around. But so a lot of times this is where people will go and they'll type in whatever website they're trying to get to. This is the search bar, as opposed to typing in a direct URL. And so a lot of people, which is fine, there's no reason not to, but if I want to type in Wind River Internet, I have now searched for Wind River Internet, and there are ways for hackers to end up in these search rankings and things, not for Wind River Internet, but for CNN or whatever it is. But so I go to your website, and there we are.
And you can tell it's really ours because it's windriverinternet.com. And we don't actually have anything vital on there, so it's not a secured one.
Gotcha. So we'll go to County 10. So there's that padlock.
There, there's the padlock that you want. We do need to get it put on ours though. And I talk about
it. So yeah, there's that padlock there. You can verify it's county10.com. That's a really important thing. It's really easy to be fooled by all of these different URLs and things. So just wanted to show that to everybody because we get that all the time. I'll say, go to county10.com and people will say, okay, I'm there. And I'll say, scroll down, and they are telling me about text that they're seeing that isn't on our website. And so they've searched County 10, but they haven't put it into the URL. So good example there. What else should we talk about as far as internet scams? There are email scams. There are really the thing, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, is to think these things through before you click on anything, because your credit card company, the IRS, most of those people do not call you and demand personal information. Because you have already given them that information. They already have it.
If they're asking for you to pay with a prepaid credit card, it's a scam. My wife got a call like that, and they were saying that she had to pay with a prepaid credit card, multiple prepaid credit cards, or the police were going to come and put her in jail for some weird thing. Mm-hmm. And I was like, how do people even fall for this?
Right.
But they make it sound legit, and
my grandmother is turning 91 this week, and she lives in Indiana. And a year ago, just after her 90th birthday, so just a little over a year ago, under a year ago, she called my cousin and said, "What are you doing in Hawaii?" And he said, "Grandma, I'm not in Hawaii." And she said, "Well, I just got a call from you. You told me that you were in Hawaii and needed money." And he said, "Grandma, you didn't give me any money, did you?" And she said, "Well, no, I'm not giving you any money." And so she never gave it, but she got that call. And and the same thing happens via email constantly. There are a lot of really funny YouTube videos about people and what they've done to thwart these scams, but it happens all the time. And so as you were talking about lists and like the chain letters, and I see them all the time, especially in the middle of COVID. People saying, "Hey, let's get to know each other," and there are these long lists of where did you grow up, what is your favorite color, what was the name of your first dog, where did you go to high school, things like that. And I don't think that it occurs to people that frequently those are started by scammers.
Yeah. Because
they want all that information.
It seems like it'd be a fun thing to learn about everybody, but yeah, they're usually a way of phishing.
Right. And if you then friended somebody who you've already friended, now you have a scammer on your friend list, and they can see it. If you have it private, if you have it set to public, they can already see it.
Yeah.
So watch the settings on your on social media. Don't click on a link until you've verified that it really is the website that they want you to go to. Don't send a prepaid anything to the Prince of Nigeria, which is that's the one that everybody uses, because I've gotten that one to somebody from Nigeria.
There's a bunch of COVID ones right now. I put a link to it in here that are going around. They're saying that there's 13.4 million in scams last year that were committed over the internet, and Google's blocks more than 100 million phishing emails every day from criminals trying to steal personal information, and about 18 million of them are coronavirus related, and they go over like buying blood. I don't know why people think they're selling blood from survivors, I guess, but it's a scam, obviously, and just
it's a disturbing one.
Yeah. They try and get information from you about getting a stimulus check to you. They're not really. You're not gonna. Yeah, it's a scam.
So this
miracle cures. Yeah.
Miracle cures.
Yeah.
That's nuts. I have a question for you. We talked about this a little before we went live. So when you get an email that you suspect is a phishing email, I've always wondered, and like Gmail will filter a lot of that stuff out, put it in spam. But I've always wondered what happens if you click on one and just open the email versus whether you click on a link on the inside.
So that's interesting. So website-based email clients are probably the safest. So if you're inside of like Google or Hotmail, Outlook, Yahoo, they're typically fine to open because they're not actually going to download anything on your computer. If you have like Microsoft Exchange or Thunderbird or one of those desktop clients to check your email, or the mail application in Windows, they actually do download the emails. And when you open them, it used to be in the past really easy for them to just put an executable file in there and it would just run. But most modern operating systems and computers, they'll let you know that something's trying to install, so you can hit no.
Yeah.
If you click on an email and all of a sudden it pops up asking for your permission for something,
always say no.
Say no unless you actually are expecting something from somebody that they tell you they're sending it to you, because otherwise, it's some kind of a malware. And keep your computer. So this goes on. So we were talking more about like the grander idea of things to be aware of and keep in your mind. But now we're going to talk a little bit more about the technical aspect. The technical aspect is always have the latest updates on all your devices, because there's security vulnerabilities on them. Not intentionally, but these scammers and these bad hackers and things, they are constantly looking for all the vulnerabilities, and they find them, and they are able to get these malware bots and things to get your personal information, capture your passwords, take over your computer, or just to use it to send out spam. That's a big one. They'll install a little program in the background, adds you to a bot network that's used to serve out spam.
Well, that's not fun.
Yeah, it makes your computer really slow. That doesn't necessarily harm anything on your computer, but it makes it really slow, and it makes your ISP really angry. So make sure you always run the latest version of your Windows update if you're in Windows. Same with Mac. All your mobile devices, always run all the updates on those. Apple's a closed system, so they have to approve anything that runs on their devices. So they're generally a little more secure, just because people can't randomly put stuff on there. They have to sign up be a developer. Things have to go into review. On Windows, it's a little more open. Anybody can kind of make something and put it out there. So, and there's a lot more Windows users, so they're kind of a bigger target for this sort of stuff. Same goes for Android. Android's open source, and by default, it's usually set to only allow from the Play Store, or Samsung Store, and those are vetted, and those are usually safe. But if you go to a website and it's telling you to allow third-party applications to install on an Android phone, if you don't really trust those things, that's how you get viruses and things on an Android phone.
Yeah. Well, there was that big scandal a while ago with the Google Play Store, all of the apps that they removed, and then they initiated Play Protect and all of those things, because I remember we get questions like at County 10 about the Newsbreak app, and for a while Newsbreak or one of these news aggregation services, they piggybacked off of other apps, and you would install an app and suddenly you would have this thing that was showing you news that you didn't even know where it came from. that was less than enjoyable. But yeah, apps that you don't recognize are not a good idea.
All right, so I'm done talking now. We can take questions.
Hey, all right.
Questions. Well, we have 3 questions right now, and they're actually all about Wind River Internet Service.
Oh, okay.
So the first one, Kelly asks, she says, we live on 17 Mile Road and have been promised fiber optics for about 6 years, and she wants to know when they will receive that service out on 17 Mile Road.
This summer.
This summer.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. How many years did she say?
She said 6 years?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been trying for a really long time to get the services. We actually do have fiber all along 17 Mile. The portion that we've been trying that allows us to connect it directly into the home, the last mile, is what's been kind of held up because it's very expensive. And we connected about 400 homes so far in the Arapahoe area along 17 Mile, and we'll be getting to your house this summer on our way up to Eat the D on 17 Mile. So.
All right. The next question is from Mary. She asks, where is Wind River Internet available? She says she's on North Fork Road, north of Lander.
It's most likely available there as our fixed wireless service. We don't have fiber optics in that area yet, but you need to just call our office and ask. There's a lot of, we have to check a lot of things. So we have to make sure there's a line of sight to one of our towers. We've got about 34 towers or repeater sites around the county, and we do have one, or we actually have like 4 in that area. So the odds are really good that we can get service. But if you're surrounded by trees, or if you're kind of in a valley, unfortunately sometimes we still aren't able to get people service. But for the most part we can in that area.
All right. Well, Mary, sounds good for you. And Kelly, wow. First 2, we're winning. Okay. Robert asked, is there a possibility of getting service out to Missouri Valley area very soon? He says Wyoming.com's tower is full and he can't get good service through a hotspot.
So we do have a callback list, and we keep track of everybody that calls into the office, and we put their address in there, and we have a map. And once we get enough people in a certain area, then we'll put a tower there. So again, give the office a call, let them know where you're at, and if we can't get you service now, we can add you to the list to call you back when we do get a tower closer to that area.
All right. I think we have one more. Tommy asked, when will E50 get the fiber? Like he's asking if there's a date set when they can get it.
This summer is when we're going to be putting it in. There's actually a crew out working on it right now. But all I can promise right now is that the goal is to have it in place before the snow falls. So hopefully sooner than later, but there's a lot. That's actually a whole nother section where we have to put up another little building. So that's probably going to come towards the end of summer. But yeah, you'll see our crews out there all summer long getting ET ready.
That's great.
Oh wow, we just got another one. So Melvina asks, she says, I want another internet hookup at my house. How do I do that? 2 mini game consoles at my house.
Yeah,
she doesn't say where she is though. Let me ask her.
Well, I mean, if she already has service from us, yeah, we can add a second service. Just need to call and ask and pick a plan. The other thing is you might be able to go with a higher plan than what you currently have. That can help. We also have an app called Minim, and it does a quality of service where you can actually designate devices in your house and how much bandwidth each one gets, so that one doesn't hog it all. So that's another
nice.
option as well. Yeah.
That's really nice.
Yeah.
I need that when the kids are on the TV and we're trying to.
Yeah, that's exactly what you can do. Is you can set priorities, so you can give all the kids low priority, and then you can put your computer with your work as high priority, and that way your Zoom calls and things will still be good, and their Netflix might be a little bit lower quality, but yeah.
Nice. Well, it looks like I don't. If we've got some people watching right now. If you've got any questions, make sure you drop them in there. You talked about towers and fiber this summer. Are there what other big things are coming up from Wind River Internet?
We're trying to gauge interest in a cable system for TV. We talked about it last show, and basically we're just we're probably going to do it eventually, but if there's more demand now, we'll do it sooner. So that's another thing to call in, or email, or message on here if you're interested in that. There'll be like a cable service for around $20 a month for the basic TV with the locals, and then you can go all the way up to, like the big cable packages for, $60 or $80 a month with HBO and all that stuff.
Sure. Great. Well, it doesn't look like we have any new questions from that, but if you do have a question that you want to leave, if you're watching this while we're not live on replay, because it will be on our YouTube channel and obviously available here on Facebook after we are done with the live video, drop a comment and let us know what questions you have about tech. We've got a list of stuff we'd like to talk about, from cell phones to operating systems to obviously always internet. So let us know what you'd like to hear about. Drop some more comments in, questions that you have, and we'll try and address all of them and be back for another tech Q&A in the future. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.